I'm Denise with Black Ribbon Studio. Thank you for tuning into this episode of my crochet podcast. Today is Friday, August 16th, and I particularly want to welcome all of my new subscribers. I'm really glad you're here. I hope that you enjoy this podcast enough to keep coming back again and again. And to those of you who have been with me since the beginning, welcome back. This week, I'm going to be talking about some finished objects. Hold on, did I say objects as in plural, as in more than one? Yes, I did. So I'm going to be showing you some finished objects and a discovery. So I want you to sit back, relax, put your feet up, and let's get started. Now, the first finished object that I want to share with you this week is the Diamonds and Dots blanket that you guys have seen that I've been working on. It is finally done. Didn't really take that long to do, and I really did enjoy doing it. And if you remember, I made this using Lion Brand's Pound of Love in Lilac. And I really like this pattern, guys. So when I showed it to you last, all I really needed to do was to add a border, which is simply a one row border. Now this pattern is by the Traveling Hook Creative, and I'll put a link to that below in the description, as I think I'm really good with putting links down in the description box, guys, about everything that I talk about on a podcast, so be sure you check there. And I did talk about the fact that the pattern, which I'll show you, called for these really fancy tassels, which I decided not to include the tassels. It really had a lot to do with the fact that these tassels are not really my style, and I don't think, as one of my subscribers also pointed out and I agreed with, I don't think they're appropriate for a baby blanket. And I didn't want to start a new skein of yarn simply to make tassels with. So here's the blanket again. I'll try to show you the whole thing. Isn't it gorgeous? I really, really like this. And the thing that I like the most about this blanket, guys, is that it's really lightweight, yet still very warm for a baby. So I definitely would make this pattern again. So I do recommend that you try it out if you want to do a little bit of filet crochet, which I found really fun to do as well. Now, guys, that makes 7 blankets that I've made in a row. 7. So I did talk about on a previous podcast that I was thinking about things to do, smaller projects to do in between doing blankets, which, you know, I love making blankets, but we all do need a break every now and then. And so when I did my 100 subscriber giveaway video, I asked that in order to be entered in the giveaway, that people ask me a question. Which I loved, and which I really do encourage you guys to continue to do, because I absolutely love answering your questions. Now, Shar, I won't say her whole name, asked me what I selected to do as a smaller project. And so that has prompted me to start this new segment of the podcast, which I'm calling No Yarn Left Behind. And I wish I could say that in that echoey big voice that the announcers use sometimes on those commercials. No yarn left behind. So anyway, Char, what I decided to do was to work on some baby booties. I thought, how cute would that be? I primarily make baby blankets, and so I would make, out of the leftover yarn from the blankets, I would make booties to coordinate with those blankets. But now let me tell you what happened. I'm going to show you what I've accomplished. And let me just warn you, it's not pretty. Here is a baby booty. Well, it's supposed to be a baby booty. I don't know what it actually is. I don't like it. Here's the sole of the other foot. Okay. So, guys, I frogged this booty numerous times. I just couldn't get the hang of it. I tried over and over again, and I just couldn't get the hang of it. And so I went on to Facebook and to a crochet group that I've been a part of for years and years and years. And I posed the question, hey guys, what's up with baby booties? There's got to be some kind of a trick, because I'm just not getting it. Well, what a hoot. I had such a great time with that because I got hundreds of responses. And let me tell you, 90% of the responses were people saying things like, stop trying to make baby booties, it doesn't work. I never make baby booties, and I've been crocheting for 30 years, and on and on and on. So I came to the conclusion that for me, personally for me, making baby booties is witchcraft. Now, there was another subscriber who asked me, well, how long have you been crocheting? And basically, yes, she wanted to know how old I was when I started crocheting. That was what the question was. And I answered that I was old, because my kids were already grown when I started. But making or attempting to make baby booties made me remember that years and years ago, oh my gosh, it has to be 30 years ago, because my daughter was just 2 or 3 years old. I was working in the corporate world. She was going to the babysitter every day, and the babysitter's sister was expecting twin girls. And at that point in time, I thought, oh my goodness, how cute would it be to make some baby booties for the babies? And so I gathered my supplies, got some yarn, a hook, and so forth. And I attempted to make these baby booties, and it just wasn't working. Now, it just so happens that there was a co-worker who was an avid crocheter at my job. So I just gathered everything up together, brought it into work, and asked her if she could look at the pattern, try to figure out what was going wrong. And mind you guys, I was teaching myself to crochet at that point in time. I had never crocheted anything before that. Well, this lovely person took a look at the pattern. She actually went through it row by row. And she just looked at me and she said, there's something wrong with the pattern. Well, okay, that was enough for me. I took everything home. I don't even know what I did with it, but that was the end of crocheting for me for the next 20 years. Can you imagine? So here I am, 30 years later, still trying to make baby booties. And I've come to the conclusion, again, this is just not going to work for me. Now, I know that there are thousands of baby booty patterns out there. And some of you may even have some patterns that you've created. But I was just simply going for the look of a sole with the top of the booty. And so far, I've not been able to accomplish that. So We're going to just put this aside for a while until I get another brain fart, I'm going to say, that says, hey, make baby booties. So, this left me still in the middle of no yarn left behind. So what am I going to do now? Well, guys, you can see that I am wearing this beautiful head wrap. This head wrap is a tutorial on DIY Creation 7 podcast YouTube channel. And when I first saw this pattern, I knew that I was eventually going to make this. It's beautiful. And so I actually made a few of them. I made 4 in total. And here's one in blue. I made this one with the same yarn that I used for my blue C2C baby blanket. And as you can see, it's really pretty simple. It's a matter of double crochet, chain 1 double crochet. And when you, I will link up the pattern and the tutorial below in this description box for you guys. The one that I'm wearing and another one that I've made, and you can see I haven't woven in my ends. I've been having a time with that lately as well. But these were both made with the mandala in the colorway Chimera. Now, what I've discovered is that in the video, in the tutorial, she suggests that you use a 9mm hook. Well, I knew that since I was using a mandala yarn, and she's suggesting that you use a worsted, I knew that since I was using a mandala yarn that a 9 hook was probably going to be too large for me. So the one that I'm wearing, I used an 8mm hook. I did not find it very comfortable to work with, and it could be because the only 8mm hook that I have is the bamboo hooks that I showed you guys in a previous video. And that might be part of the reason, but I think it was more of the weight of the yarn. So what I did was, I did go ahead and make the 2 blue ones using the 8mm hook, because this is a worsted weight yarn. But then when I went to make this one, I went down another hook size. I went down to a 7mm, and I liked this for this type of yarn a whole lot better. So, still on the no yarn left behind, I made these head wraps, and goodness, they've all been spoken for already. So I decided, well, you know, I really could use some flowers. I have not crocheted flowers in a really long time. So I set out on a quest to find what I could call my sort of go-to flower. So I have a few flowers here that I found patterns for, and I made them up. This one is the Triple Layer Flower by Attic 24. And that's pretty nice. It wasn't difficult to make at all. Okay. And then I did the flower crochet pattern by Daisy Cottage Designs. I really like this one. And I could see putting a button or bead right there in the center to coordinate with whatever I'm going to put the flower on. And it just looks really neat. I like it a lot. I like that one. That one is so far the winner. And then I went on and did a couple of flowers from the Easy Flower by Crystal at Bag O' Day Crochet. And here's one of them I have not yet woven in the ends. Here's one. And here's another. Very, very easy and simple, just as the name says. I'm not sure. I don't really like the way the center of the flowers looks, but that's probably just a me need to do, some more work on that. Okay. So, those are my finished objects. And I don't have any whips currently. Still trying to figure out what it is I want to make. I'm not quite ready to go back to blankets quite yet. Although, I already know in my mind the next 3 blankets I'm going to be making. But, guys, I have a discovery. As I was sitting there, I believe it was when I was working on the baby booties, I suddenly remembered that I have a beautiful notions pouch that I made a couple of years ago, at least a year ago. And it says Cause Happiness. And all of this is cross-stitched. And I created this design based on a design by Mary Engelbright. And if you don't know who Mary Engelbright is, she is an illustrator and artist who was really super popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. And Kim from Classic Kim's Crochet had asked who was my biggest crafty influence, and Mary Engelbright clearly was. She did at one point come out with a lot of cross-stitch patterns from her artwork, and I simply modified the border, used my own alphabet to create the words, and so now I have this really cute notions pouch. I put, there's a linen fabric on the back. And then I put this cute lining inside, which coordinates, I think, really well with the cross stitch here. And so now I have a nice place to keep all of my crochet hooks, needles, stitch markers. And guys, I don't know if you remember, but I did mention in one of my videos that I am currently still using the same aluminum hooks that I've been using all this time. Never had an upgrade. And I even had them in the same original plastic little package that they came in. So, I don't have that problem anymore. I found my little notions pouch, and I am really excited about it. Now, I am probably going to do a podcast again next week. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be alerted every time I do upload a video. And as usual, guys, I want to leave you with some words of inspiration. Now, this is a quote by Goethe. Don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's spelled Goethe. He's known for German literature and philosophy. And he says, everything is hard before it is easy. You guys, have a great rest of the day, and I will be talking with you soon.